Why hello there. It's 2016 and technology's not on our side. We can't record audio properly, and now when we can finally record audio properly, we can't get the internet right, and so we're having a lot of technical difficulties with shooting a podcast. But because we love you guys, we're just gonna soldier on anyways, regardless of how bad our connections are. If you really want us to succeed, you should support our Patreon, non-existent Patreon.
Yeah, this is like the 20th time we've done this one.
Yeah, if you're wondering why we haven't posted anything since I don't know how long ago, it's because we can't get our crap together. Anyways, welcome to episode I don't know how many of our Summer Split LCS Fantasy podcast. This is post week 2 and pre week 3, and we're here to talk about things that are related to LCS Fantasy. Woo! My name is Max, and I'm a feeder, even though I don't play the game anymore. I just got bent over by Zisha and his TSM Exodia lineup. We'll get to that later.
My name is Zisha, and I believe in Weldon, and I just bet Max over with my TSM Exodia.
My name is Dan, and I thought XPK was good at AD carry. Apparently he's not good at AD carry.
Alright, okay. So just a brief introduction here at All.In. We do a Fantasy League of Legends LCS podcast. We try to take a more case study type of approach where we look at our own fantasy league and we talk about things we do well and we do not do well. Talk about gambles, strategies, picks and drops, and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully, instead of just focusing just on raw numbers and, we're focusing a little bit more on the gut feeling side of things. So without further ado, we just want to touch base on what happened in the week 2 LCS. Hey, Roccat is doing pretty well. Oh my god, Zisha's like... I don't see Zisha's audio. Are we going down the drain again?
No, I still see him.
Okay. Alright, continue. Okay, yeah, Rockat's been doing pretty well. Steelback is first in points, and Parang is like 4th in points, and Parang is like the new top laner. And yeah, Roccat has been very impressive. They tied 1 and they won 1 this week, but just from the eye test and just from like the past 2 weeks, Steelback is scoring buckets, and he's definitely continuing his rampage through the LCS. And the rest of the team looks pretty solid. I don't think they're a top-tier team. I think they're probably like one step below, say, G2 Fnatic and H2K. But I'm not afraid to pick them up.
They're probably near the top of the mid-tier teams right now, just judging from the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure. And if we're talking about fantasy LCS, it's, I would consider like Steelback probably a high-priority pick already.
Yeah.
And I have preparing as well.
I dropped him and I picked him up immediately, as soon as I could. I'm glad nobody took him.
Yeah. And another team to look at, I'm not convinced yet, but Energy also looks kind of revitalized. They look better. They scored pretty well this week. I'm not convinced they're good. But, if you're in an 8-man league, if you start reaching down and your starters have a tough week ahead, then, you could potentially look to Energy players from here on out because they are looking a little bit more solid. But
You know what?
I'm going to say that with
the test, actually.
Yeah, this week might be the test. I'm going to say this with a disclaimer. I don't know. They managed to take 1 game off Envy, which is... It doesn't say much, but, once again, they don't look like... Yeah, they don't look like the Energy in week 1 where they just look like they're going to get relegated. Speaking of playing against Envy, Envy continues to impress, at least in my books. I almost assembled the Envy Exodia, but they dropped 1 game to... Yeah, they dropped 1 game to Energy, but then in general they played really well. Unfortunately, no one really scored that many points.
Apex.
Oh, they dropped 1 game to Apex. Did they drop 1 game to Energy as well? I think so.
Was that?
Let me check.
Yeah, they dropped 1 game to Energy in week 1.
Yeah. So, right now, I think they're probably just like Roccat. They are top mid-tier team, and I don't think there's anything wrong with like having the Envy Exodia, but I don't think they're as strong as the TSM Exodia. And okay, one last thing before I let someone else speak. Yo, I'm so excited for H2K. Week 1 they look kind of flimsy, but this week they came out and they kicked everyone's ass. I mean, HDK versus Giants, okay, whatever. It's the Giants. They're not that good anyways. Even though I think they're doing a lot better than they did last year. But HDK versus Fnatic, they decimated them with the H2 Dre. The H2 Draven. It was great. And in the second game, in addition to stomping Fnatic in under 30 minutes, they also like scored. They had like 7 dragons and yeah, they're like 1 trillion dragons, 2 barons, and then like 18 towers or something. It was great. No, it wasn't 18 towers, but like they had a crap ton of points. It was really impressive. So H2K came out of the door swinging.
Yeah, if Freeze keeps on managing to pull off plays like that, they will have like a convincing, like aggressive carry lane that they didn't have before.
Yeah, I feel like one of the most dangerous things about Freeze is like his Draven is like a monster. It's really scary, but you can't target ban him because Ryu has a massive mid lane pool. So yeah,
it feels like the things you have to ban aren't even like targeted bans anymore. It's just like a bunch of mid lane perm bans in Italy and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, I'm done with my rant and my recap for week 2. What do you guys have to say?
For me, I already mentioned that I made a gamble on XPK. Didn't pay off. Kind of disappointed. I dropped Steelback to pick him up in making that gamble. If I had Steelback, I would have won. And then, I just, as soon as I could, I picked up Steelback and dropped XPK again. I think I dropped him at least. Let me check. Yeah, I dropped him.
I remember earlier this week you had a very heated discussion about how well XPK was going to do, and you firmly believed in him.
I did. I put so much faith in XPK. And, well, to be fair, his first game actually was
you
decent.
versus Robert Wu?
Yeah.
The
first game was decent.
Those games I've watched, and he picked up kills here and there, but then from a ADC standpoint, I don't think he played awesome. Like he still played like he had Sonya's. And that was like my main problem.
Yeah. He didn't do too good, so yeah, I dropped him back, and honestly, with the way Steelback has been playing, there's no reason for me to not have Steelback on my bench.
At this point in time, you can probably perma-start Steelback.
Yeah, actually, I'll talk about that later when we get into our matchups. But X Special also didn't do as good as I was hoping for. Apex had a pretty tough week though, so hopefully he can bounce back, because he looked amazing in week 1. And then facing Steph's team, even though I could have won if I played better like champions and stuff like that, or I mean players, Dardak and Piglet didn't do that good either too. So I think if they did play as good as they were expected to, I might have lost anyways. But that's more or less the things that I wanted to mention. Don't believe in XPK.
I think TL is going to be on the uprise. I think with Dardock back, and I feel like last season, I think I mentioned this in the podcast that didn't get out last week. I think the way TL plays is Dardock carries Piglet until late game, where Piglet does really well, and Phoenix is just like there as a control mage, which kind of enables Piglet. That's my bronze interpretation of how it's happening. Moon just didn't have the early game presence. They needed an early game jungler like Dardock. Now that he's back, hopefully it works a lot better.
Hopefully
if TL can stabilize, they can have some of the success they saw before.
Yeah, but
same thing with Energy actually. I want to see if either of those teams can like kick it up a notch and like be a decent team again.
Yep.
Besides that, TSM performed so well that I wouldn't even feel bad about just running the Exodia for the rest of the split. They had one of they went against Immortals, who actually like put up a pretty good fight in, I guess, 1.5 of the games.
Yeah.
And they still like performed beyond expectations, I guess, or I guess to expectations now that my expectations are to the moon.
Yeah.
TSM.
TSM. All right. Anything else that we haven't covered in terms of recapping the week?
No, that's about it.
One last thing I want to point out is I can't figure out what the bottom rung teams in EU are. I mean, Splice has their moments. FO4 or
Well,
like Shoke 4 has their moments. Giant has their moments.
It's Unicorns
So
of
I
Love.
will. Yeah, it's probably UOL. I mean, and
Feels
OG.
like it now, doesn't it?
Yeah, like but UOL has the moments too. And like UOL looks pretty bad. Like OG is currently pretty bad, but then but it's OG. I won't be surprised if OG suddenly turns around, or Xpeke finally gets used to playing ADC, or they get Cyanide again, or whatever. I mean, the Valerian. But yeah. So I expect OG to turn it around. I expect OG to be a mid-tier team.
They're
Bottom of EU LCS, the floor of EU LCS has really like raised. Like the bad teams are kind of decent now.
Yeah. And I think it's also the format where, getting a tie is so much better than getting O2'd.
For sure.
That's true.
Nobody wants to get
Alright, so that should wrap up our recap.
Close enough.
Alright, I guess we'll jump right into our All-In League results. I guess we'll go straight into the winners and losers of week 2. I guess first team was myself. I was facing Steph's team. I lost by like 1.37 points, so it was pretty close match, closest one of the week. It's literally like just an assist away from winning, but yeah, that was a bad week for me, and also a bad week for her too. Like Dardoch and Piglet didn't score well at all, so if they played well, I probably would have lost anyways with a good team, since like Special sucked ass. Steelback wouldn't have saved me. We have
do you well this week.
Tim versus Chris. This was a 30-point victory that Tim had over Chris. Tim's team is looking pretty good, to be honest. With the exception of
without
Afro.
coaching in the church.
Yeah, with the exception of Afro. Is he even adjusting his lineup? I don't know if he is. It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I was talking to him about things. I was like, oh, you should totally drop like whoever.
Okay, like Rush. Does he still have Rush?
No.
Okay, well, Chris's team is looking a bit better too. Like, I really like his support pick. It did work out for him. Like 50 something is pretty good. Did better than the next special. So, yeah, but still lost by 30 points. And then we have Max versus Zisha, and Zisha also won by 30 points with a pretty dominating lead. And yeah, TSM is just beasting it right now.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about that. I think I would have stood a better chance if Envy didn't go. If Envy had even one 2-0 game, like 2-0 series, they would have done a lot better.
Yeah, Envy did pretty bad for me too with Seraph. I was kind of disappointed with that.
Yeah. I mean, my week wasn't bad, by all means.
You had like the third best week of the. Yeah, you had the third best score of the week.
Yeah, third best.
Oh well. It's fine.
Alright, so that pretty much brings us to our standings, I guess. And in 6th place, you see down here, we have Chris's team. He went 2 losses, 0 wins, 0 ties. He went down 2 spots from 3rd. Max stays in 5th place with his 2nd loss of the season. Tim jumps up 2 spots from last place to 4th with 1 win, 1 loss. And I'm in 3rd place. I had 1 win, 1 loss. I just pretty much beat him in points, so I have a bit of an edge on him on that. Steph's team goes 2-0, beating me, and in 1st place we have Zisha's. I believe in Weldon, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess I just traded spots with Steph, so. What do you think of the standings right now? Like, what do you think it looks like? Do you think there's going to be a big change over the next couple of weeks, or do you think this is pretty accurate?
It's hard to say. Ask me again in week 5, and I'll have a better idea.
Well, in week 5,
There's a
I'm
few
pretty sure
teams
it'll
that
look
might
different.
pick things up.
Do you think you're gonna? Do you think there's some people here that shouldn't be where they are?
I think I could be higher.
Max really could be higher. He's got a solid lineup.
Where do you think you can finish off in the season?
I think I could do at least 4th.
4th. That's just one spot.
Yeah.
Not too ambitious.
Setting the bar very low for yourself.
All right, so I guess Zisha's at first place. He's pretty happy being first there, and I don't think he thinks he should be anywhere lower
If
than
TSM
that.
continues this way, there's
Yeah, I don't think I can take first place. I would like to be in second. I don't know if I can even do that with my team right now. But yeah, I don't know. I think Chris will stay in last place. Okay, so let's move to the matchups we have for this coming week, week 3. First match of the week, we have How to Skill Shot versus Apatu. So that's Steph versus Chris. From projections, it looks like it's 516 for Steph to 480 for Chris. But we know ride predictions are pretty shit. What do you guys think about this matchup here?
I think it's fair. I don't think Chris is gonna win. He has rain over. Actually, no. I think it could go both way. I think the thing that's gonna kill him is gonna be Hui. Chris. I think if Chris gets a better mid laner, and there's a ton of them out there, then he could potentially pull something off because, Hui's pretty good. If C9 2-0s, actually that's not gonna happen. Okay, what's gonna happen with Chris is this is how he's gonna lose. C9 is gonna play TSM and they lose a really close game. Okay, Bunny Fufu scores really fantastic, but they lose a very close game, and then they switch in smoothly.
Well, Chris does have like 2 members of Fnatic though, and Fnatic is a good team and has a super easy week.
Yep.
That might pull him far
yes,
ahead.
they have a relatively easy week, but Featherman also has a tendency to play like Lissandra, so like really supporty mages, and just like lets Reckless or whatever do whatever they have to do. So Featherman is always going to be a gamble, even though I do trust he's going to score very well.
So what about?
Whereas if you
This has to go off harder than.
if you look at Jensen is more balls to the walls, and he is like Jensen and is the kind of primary carry for C9, and just Sneaky as the secondary carry that somehow happens to have more points.
What about Chris's Huhi and Ray?
I don't mind Ray being in there because C9 is a slugfest all the time, and hopefully, okay, if I was Chris, I would hope that the C9 slugfest is one of that last season when they had like a TSM C9 battle where like balls went off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it turns into one of those, it's gonna be great for Ray. But then, and plus they're playing Phoenix 1, so hopefully that's gonna be good for Ray as well. My concern is Huhi.
Which also goes into
my concern for Chris is Huhi.
Which also goes into the concern for Steph's CLG team.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Do you think?
There's a lot of good teams out there.
Do you think Chris has a chance if TL doesn't do well this week?
Yeah, that's my next question. How do you think TL is gonna do for Steph?
I think they'll do better. I think those projections are probably a little higher than what they're going to be, but I think it's going to be pretty close.
There's a liquid energy game though this week that's going to be possibly game changing.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just putting it out there. I know they're not watching the podcast, so they're not going to know. But Roccat, the team, is still out there.
Yes.
I mean, if you're looking for a team to potentially pick up this week, like in our league, Rockat's still there. And Team Envy is there because I just dropped them. So someone should probably pick up Team Envy. I'm gonna tell Tim. on Facebook right now, Tim, you should pick up Team Envy.
And Energy, yeah.
I just dropped them.
Energy did pretty good this week too.
Yeah.
Don't know if they
did
could keep
really
it up.
Better than before.
Yeah.
I
They did a
don't know if
much
they can
better
keep it
week
up.
2 than a week 1.
Well, I want to see them.
Oh wait, no, wait, never mind. Tim has TSM. He doesn't need to pick up Envy. Whatever.
Watch him drop. Watch him drop Envy right now.
Yeah. I'm ready to pick it up.
Alright, so
I just dropped Envy. Someone should pick up Envy.
week 2. Week 3, match 2. It's Zisha versus me. So he still has his TSM lineup. He took out Sven Skaren and put in Spirit. What's your reasoning behind that?
Good choice.
I believe fully in TSM, but I also believe fully in Spirit, and also Spirit has a super easy week, so why not?
And you still have Nuke Duck over who was the other AD carry that you had? Or you had another flex player?
I don't have another AD carry. I had a really bad I think I was going to draft Reckless, and then he got auto-drafted, so I didn't even have anything to draft for flex, so I had Nuke Duck.
I thought you had a different
But,
flex
why
player
not?
that
He's
was
alright.
decent.
I've been looking, and I can't see anyone who's significantly better than Nuke Duck. Who's free right now?
How about what's his name? Cobby.
Hard week.
Yeah.
Versus Fnatic.
The one thing I would think about doing right now is actually just putting Sven or something into my flex and still having Exodia.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. For me, I made a lot of changes to my lineup this week. As you can see from the ride predictions, I'm gonna get shit on. From real predictions, I'm still probably gonna get shit on, but I think it's gonna be not as bad. Impact has been doing better than Seraph both weeks so far, so it's time to bench Seraph, let him take a break, and Impact is in. I was debating of benching Trick and putting Meteos in because Meteos has been doing pretty good as well too, but Trick has a very easy week, I think, coming up. So I left Trick in. I benched Wild Turtle, and I put Steel back in. And rather than putting Wild Turtle in my flex, I have Meteos.
The right.
You don't want to put Turtle in your flex?
No, I don't.
You want to give him to me?
No, I don't. I'm just waiting for Immortals to
Dude.
get good again.
Yo, Immortals is facing Envy, and they're facing Fox.
Yeah, I don't think they could beat Envy.
Yeah, but do you think Cloud9 is gonna beat TSM?
No, but I think it'll be scrappy. I think Cloud9 is pretty good right now. They look pretty good.
I think you're undervaluing Immortals.
Yeah. So, okay.
I think you guys are overvaluing Immortals.
Dude, Immortals gave TSM a pretty stompy game this week.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it didn't turn out well for fantasy points, did it?
It turned out okay. It's if they had won that third, well,
They did well.
it's because they got absolutely stomped the first one. And
Exactly.
then they stomped them the second one, so
That wasn't
they
enough
had
though.
halfway, but they still managed to stomp TSM, which is
I
kind of clearly.
I
the best
honestly
team.
I honestly think Immortals has an easier week because I think TSM is better than Envy, and Immortals is facing Envy and Fox, which is a worse team than Apex
Yo,
statistically.
Wild Turtle only had 62 points last week. It's pretty crust.
I don't
Okay,
know, man.
okay.
You watch those
Prove us
games.
wrong.
I will.
All right.
No, stats don't lie. Okay, stats don't lie, and we'll come back next week to see if Dan is right or me and Zisha are right.
Exactly. We'll recap
Dan
it anyways.
stomped me this week.
No, I still think I'm gonna lose, but I think I'm gonna do better with this lineup than I will with Wild Turtle. I'm not believing in
What, do you
Immortals right
believe in
now.
next special?
I don't have a support. He's my only support.
No, there's so many supports in the pool right now.
I don't trust them.
Dude, there's Hybrid. There's Hybrid.
Matt
There's
is-
Matt. Matt is an easy week.
No,
That is free. Vendor is free.
I'm
Yeah,
keeping X
Vander
special.
is free.
X special. I'm just having
Raze
a lot
is
of faith in him.
Yeah.
Okay. Haku is free.
uh, yeah, I'm gonna keep X special. I'm gonna keep him all season.
Alright.
Unless he like shits the bed 3 weeks in a row, but I'm willing to take a gamble on him. It's no fun without the gambles, anyways. Okay,
Yeah.
last match of the week. We have Max's team versus Tim's team. Projections say that Max will not win this match. I don't know. Max's team looks
The
pretty
interesting thing about this one
blue
is
and green, turquoisey.
yeah. The interesting thing about this matchup is there's a lot of head-on-head matchups. So, for example, Envy is playing Immortals, so I have Ninja versus Pobelter. And then I also have Roccat versus Origin, and I have Parang versus Amazing Empire of Evil. So a lot
don't get
is
this.
based on. And then
Yeah, I don't
I'll
get
also
why
have Freeze
Riot-
versus Sven.
I don't get why Riot still is predicting such high scores for Origin players. 86 for Power of Evil.
I think what they do is
Like
they
80 something for Forgiven, who's not even on the team anymore.
you made their predictions before for the entire season before the season even started, and they don't make any adjustments.
They only make adjustments if the adjustments are like very, very, very drastic. So like last season, C9 was like really trash with Rush for like 5 weeks, and they took Rush from like really good to like really trash.
Well,
So
even
they
this
do
season,
change it.
You don't
They do
think
change it.
Forgiven leaving,
even this season, they
you don't think
predict.
Forgiven leaving the team is enough of a change? Change Forgiven's expected score.
They're predicting Meteos to only score 25 points and Impact to score 31 points.
I think
Okay, these are
that's
pretty much like
because-
computer generated numbers. We can't put too much effort onto it. All right,
I
anyways.
think those predictions are because C9 has multiple players on their roster.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We digress. Back to my my matchup versus
Yeah.
Tim.
I swear you
think
picked
this
your
could
team
swing
based on
either
the
way.
colors you like. It's like matches your background.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they were all blue. I'm sorry, I'm colorblind. Oh yeah. Yeah, imagine that. Anyways, I think this is going to be a very, very, very tilty, like a tilty matchup, because a lot of my players are going head to head against each other, so it could go either way. I think HDK is going to tie with G2. I don't think it's going to be a 2-0. I'll be really surprised if it's a 2-0. So Sven usually scores better than Freeze, but I don't know if week 3 Freeze is going to be like week 2 or week 1. So I really don't know. And but hopefully Parang does pretty well. I know it's kind of rare to have a top laner in your flex because usually top laners aren't the higher scoring people. But I might as well just ride the Roccat bandwagon for the time being. Oh, and one last thing I did is I dropped Envy, the team, and I picked up H2K because I believe in Prolly.
I think you're gonna win this week, actually, despite what Rito thinks. He's got Origin. He's got like 2 Origin players in Aftermoon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a talk with Tim about this.
You
Alright.
put him next week when you're not going against him.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for this week 3 that's coming up. Anything else to say about this before we move on to our predictions?
Nope.
Alright, so let's get to it. Okay, here we go. Alright, go ahead, Max.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I spelled Ray wrong.
Yes.
So yeah, I think the next portion is we just basically do our predictions for what's like how people are gonna rank in next week LCS, and we do it from gut feeling, and we look at matchups and all that kind of stuff. So we're just gonna go through our top 8 choices, and then we're just gonna like talk it out, and we're just like yell at each other for being dumb. Anyways, okay, let's go. We're starting with top lane. No, I guess I'll start since I'm talking already. I have Hanser first because TSM looks really good and we should pick Hanser. I have Seraph second. I should not have him second because I just realized that he did pretty trash last week. But I think I shouldn't have put Seraph second. I think I think I should have Huni second, Parang third, and probably Seraph fourth. Once again, I mentioned this earlier. Roccat has been doing pretty well recently, and they have a somewhat easy week next week. No, wait, they're facing one good team. Who is it? No, they're facing OG and SO4, so it's a somewhat easy week. So I'm gonna fingers crossed that Parang's gonna do really well. I have Odo because H2K, they're a pretty good team. Expect. I don't know how well he's gonna do. I don't know what my expectations are. But G2 is a really good team, so you know, I would expect to do well. I'm not trying to pun, but it's just easy for me to do. And yeah, I think Apex had a really difficult week this week, but I think Apex is pretty legit, so I'm gonna put Ray up there, and I'm gonna put Soaz because at the back of my head, I always think that Origin's gonna turn it around, and I'm just gonna put it at 8 because, yeah. And my honorable mention is Impact because Impact is good.
So for me,
I would put Expect higher just from seeing how he plays. Also, Gamsu has a super easy week, so even if he isn't the biggest scorer,
for me, I have
a decent score, I think.
yeah, I have
There's
Gamsu
just
pretty
like
high
not
as
enough
well.
space for me. There's just like not enough space for me to put everyone in there.
But yeah, you managed so last.
For me, I have Gamsu pretty high as well too. I think Fnatic's gonna do well, and Gamsu's gonna continuously do well with them. Expect looks way better than Kikis. He definitely provides a lot more for G2, and I think they're gonna use that to their advantage. I have Huni in fourth. I feel like I still put him pretty high. Still not on that Immortals bandwagon yet. To be fair, in week 2, the only person that placed like in the top 4 from Immortals was like Rainover. He was second of all junglers. Impact. I actually kind of want to put Impact higher than Huni. I'm gonna do that. You know what? I'm gonna change this as well too.
At this point, I wouldn't even say that you're not on the Immortals bandwagon. I would say that you're on the anti-Immortals bandwagon.
Yeah, until they start, they don't look like the same team, so that's why I'm not believing in them. So I'm moving Seraph up.
Hey, remember what we said?
Putting Huni down.
You know what we said? Immortal is not gonna do as well in a best of series.
Exactly.
They've lost every single game they've lost is in game 2 and game 3.
Exactly. So that's why.
Yeah, that is right.
I'm not high on Immortals. I dropped them down to 6. I have Ray in 7 and Darshan at 8. Honestly, I don't know why I have Darshan there. I don't even believe him either. Let me change that to Odo Omni. Odo Omni should be higher. But yeah, that's my top lane.
Alright, Sisha?
I think he fell asleep.
I believe in Expect, and I believe in Gamsu, and I believe to some extent in Parang. Maybe I should have Odo too.
You have Zon pretty high. Does CLG have an easy week?
Should I change that to Odo? Do I believe in Odo?
CLG is playing Fox and Envy.
Yeah. I'll put Darshan there because he might do okay. I don't know about Odo either.
Sorry, I changed it for you.
You changed it for me, you shitload.
I changed it back. Alright, okay. Junglers. I think Trick's still gonna do well because Trick is Trick, even though G2 doesn't look as solid. I still think Trick and Rainover will dominate. Spence Garen is not the primary Gamma since TSM's winning anyway, so I'm gonna put Spetsgard's up there. Spirit's really good. Spirit has a super duper easy week, and I should actually put Spirit higher because Spirit has been playing shit like Kha'Zix, and he's been doing really well on like carry junglers.
Can I just say that those 4 junglers will probably be at the top of the charts for the rest of the split?
Probably.
Oh yeah, TL's not doing so hot though.
Ben and Rain over.
Yeah.
Dardoch
Anyways,
making occasional appearances.
Yeah, like Dardoch, Proxton, Yankos, whatever. They're just like junglers from good teams.
Don't sleep on
Airwax
Meteos,
because. Okay, fine. I'll put Meteos in honorable mention. But yeah, Airwax on Roccat, they have an easy week, so yeah, hopefully Airwax will do well.
I pretty much, yeah, the top 4, we pretty much have the same thing, just in different orders. I believe in Spirit. I think Fnatic's going to do really well this week. Rainover having 4th because I don't believe in Immortals, but he came 2nd in Junglers last week, so I have him a little bit higher than it would other Immortals players. Meteos I have as 5th. I think he's trying to make his case in the top 4 junglers. Yes, I have Amazing in there because he's the only one doing anything for OG. Honestly, I don't know why I have Amazing in there. I don't know who else to put it.
Yeah, let me fix that for you.
I'm changing that to Proxen.
Alright, okay.
You don't believe in Aerox?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I'll put Airwax in honorable mention for you.
There we go.
I think Aerox has a good week to have a good score.
Yeah.
I don't know about Meteos just yet. Maybe. Give it a few
I'll put him.
months,
I'll put him in honorable mention for you too.
Meteos.
I believe in this C9. I like this C9.
Oh yeah, basically Zisha's is just mine, like my list, except in different orders. So.
Pretty much.
All right. Sec.
Okay, so
yeah,
mid
okay,
lane.
let's go to mid. Let's go to mid lane. Think unanimously Bjergsen first. There's nothing to see here. Unanimously EU mids second and third. Nothing to see here. And EU mids 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing to see here.
4 is
except for
kind
Zisha,
of.
yes, Cobalt too.
Yeah, 4 is kind of interesting.
I put Ninja there. I think they have a somewhat easy week because who are they facing again? They're facing Immortals. Maybe. I'll put Ryu there as well because Ryu is playing G2 and usually it's a slugfest. And I put Betsy because once again I'm just looking down Rocket Dick.
Oh, look how low you had Pobelt there.
Oh, he's facing Ninja.
I know.
They don't play around Pobelter anymore.
Exactly. Immortals.
Wilder plays Victor and goes off sometimes. That's why I have him.
Occasionally. Occasionally.
I had Betsy much higher than you guys did. Well, slightly higher than Zisha, I guess.
Because
I don't know.
you have the guy on your team.
Oh yeah, I do have him on my team. That's probably why. I picked him up. I have Power of Evil. I believe in Power of Evil. I'm gonna leave him there. I don't care what you say.
Okay.
Ninja is good. And GBM played pretty damn well last week for Energy. Actually, I think he played pretty good even in the first week. It's just the rest of his team was trash.
Yeah.
So that's why I have GBM up in 8th. But yeah, Power of Evil.
Honestly,
So
I should be replacing Phoenix with Ryu because I'm still not convinced by Liquid.
Phoenix has TL has an easy week. I think with Dardoch maybe they'll do a lot better. I'm willing to have Phoenix there, but Phoenix is just a hollow shell of his former self, so I don't know.
I believe in Ryu more than I believe in Phoenix. Let's put that look. Actually, I'm gonna change that right now because Ryu is 3 letters to add. Builder, I don't know, like, I see some really good performances out of him, and then I see some okay performances out of him. I'm so comfortable putting him, like, in the top 8.
Do you know where Belter scored in week 2?
Where do you score in week 2?
Okay, let's see. 1, 2,
Where do
3,
you score in
4,
week
5,
2 against
6, 7,
TSM?
8. He was in 8th.
Where they got like 6-2 or something.
8 is pretty good.
He had 16 deaths. He's the weak link, guys. He's the weak link of Immortals. You have too much faith in Belter.
Technically, he is a weak link. When you have Huni and Rainover in your team, and then you have Wild Turtle.
Dan, did you watch the Immortals TSM games?
No, I didn't have time to watch anything this weekend.
Shh, don't say that.
Okay, maybe that's what you're thinking, that.
I had a pretty busy
But
family week.
they look like the second best team in North America in at least one of those games.
Immortals?
Against TSM. Yeah. They stomped them super hard.
Actually, I watched a Team
Like,
Liquid game.
Did you see my comments in the Facebook group when I was watching those games? I'm like,
yeah, I saw you say
Immortals
that.
is getting BTFO.
Yeah.
Next game, TSM is getting BTFO.
Basically, I saw those, but that didn't tell me much other than that.
Well, I'm just saying, they're still damn good. The only reason they didn't have a good week is because they literally had 0 points in the first game versus TSM. That's only gonna happen versus TSM.
They scored better points against TSM than they did against. What other team did they play against? Against Energy.
Stomped them too fast.
Yeah, Wild Turtle. Wild Turtle had better points against TSM than he did against Energy.
Yeah, because it's Slugfest. The Huni scored way better for me in versus Energy than versus TSM. So did Adrian. No, it's sort of the same, but you get what I mean.
Wild Turtle has 1, 6, and 7 on his first game.
Alright, anyways, on the topic of Wild Turtle, let's move on to ADCs. Reckless, because Fnatic has an easy week. Steelback, DL, Wild Turtles, Van Freeze, Lod, and OQ. I think the only thing that needs commenting is Lod and OQ. I put Lod there because I don't think he's a primary carry of Envy, but they look pretty solid, so I'm just going to put Lod there and OQ because I believe in OQ. I think honorable mentions, I want to say Sonstar and Apollo.
Yeah, I thought about
you know what, like
Sonstar.
Sonstar, Apollo, Cobby, and what's that other guy called? No, that's it.
Mr.
Yeah, Sonstar,
Alice?
Apollo, and Cobby. Yeah, Mr. Alice, there we go. They are like, they have games where they go off and they're on trashy teams. So, okay, they're on bad teams. I don't want to confuse people with trashy declare. But, yeah, they'll have games, if the stars align for them, they'll go off for like 1 trillion points like what Sunstar did this week. But I don't bank on those games happening very often. But I do want to point out that I acknowledge the fact that they are occasional good point scorers, and if you have them in a best game format, they would pay more. They would pay better dividends for you versus, other people.
For sure, yeah, I agree with that. They would definitely be, kind of guys that you would be willing to have on your team in a best game format.
Yeah,
for sure.
If I see one of them in like an easier week, I'm definitely confident in having them.
Yep.
I guess for mine, I had Sven.
Okay. For the record, first play Origin and Splice.
Who's playing Origin and Splice?
Giants is playing Origin and Splice, and technically Giants is a better record than Origin, and Splice is a slightly better record than Giants. So if there's a week to pick up Sonstar, this is going to be the week. It's not going to get any easier than this.
I have Sven, Steelback, Reckless, Double Lift, OQ, Sneaky, Wild Turtle, and Freeze. Sven, I think he's doing.
Did I not have Sneaky on my list?
Nope. Sven.
Okay, Sneaky is in there somewhere. Sneaky is in there somewhere. Sneaky is in there somewhere.
He has to be. Sneaky is so consistent. But yeah, Sven's doing really good with G2. So he's at the top for me. Steelback was the number 180 carry of last week. Was he number 1 in points overall? I think so, right?
Steelback.
Yeah,
Steelback
I think
was.
so. Yeah, so Steelback, I mean, he's looking solid in Rockets. Reckless is looking really good with Fnatic as well too, so he's up there. So EU 80 carries are looking really good. Double Lift is solid with TSM. I think OQ is starting to look really good with Energy. Just based on their week 2, they're looking like they're having some cohesiveness. Sneaky solid with C9, and C9's playing better and better. Wild Turtle is a bit low. I don't believe in Immortals. And Freeze, just because I didn't know who else to put at 8.
I'm currently. I feel like I should have Sven and Steelback ahead of Piglet. Because,
Yes.
yeah, I do believe in Steelback this week.
Just Steelback all the 8.
I kind of forgot about him, and then I'm like, oh, Steelback's not on this list, and then I dumped him on the list.
Because you guys doubted him from the beginning.
Ahead of Piglet, and then move all those guys further back.
You guys doubted him from the beginning, from pre-draft.
No, I just forgot. Wow, you had so many question marks there.
I know, he's breaking the chart.
Watch Steelback have a trash week.
There we
It's
go.
not
I
about the
that.
team, it's about the player.
Alright, okay, moving on. Supports. Unanimously Biofrost, and then almost unanimously Yellowstar. I don't know. Yeah, okay.
Raise! Look at Raise at number 3.
Yes, I would take Raze at number 3 as well. I think he's worth it there. I don't feel like he's completely proven yet, but if he's feeding Steelback assists, then that'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think Adrian 3rd is okay. Vander 4th is okay as well, because Freeze looks like he's gonna go on a tear.
I haven't
Jesus.
watched enough games with the
Zisha, your
Rocket.
list.
Huh? I didn't
Me
watch
and
enough
Zisha.
games with Raze and Steelback, but like just from looking at stats from Raze, it looks like he's very willing to die for Steelback. He's very willing to
Yeah.
die for Steelback, but he's getting the assists for it.
That could be a problem.
Cause he's,
Yeah, that
I don't think that's a problem at all.
That's
Cause
okay.
he's getting mad points. Like he's, like top 5 in points last week, for supports.
for sure.
Tons of assists.
Yeah, I think Raze is definitely an okay pick at least,
Hoist.
and a really good one at best.
Hoist. Yeah, actually, I'm not quite sure about special there anymore. But anyways, I think the only thing standing out here would be your decision to put Matt in there. I guess once again, TL has an easy week. Is that why you want to put Matt in there?
Might have a good week.
Yeah, TL might have a good week. So I think with a support pool is like pretty understandable as well. So there's really nothing standing out in our support choices either. I mean,
Yeah,
Dan
it's
has
like the
Afromu
top
there,
three
but
and then Raze this week.
yeah, like Dan has Afromu there, and I think Afromu could have a good week.
Afromu's
They're
there
facing
for
Envy
you
and
guys.
Fox.
Afromu's there for you guys that are playing best games.
Okay, okie dokie. It's like hoping he gets that one Bard game in.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, so let's go to teams. So for my team picking, I realize that teams that are not going to stomp 2-0 are not going to have very good weeks. So I factored in that into my decision making on what team is going to score better. I think TSM is going to stomp 2-0, so I think they're going to score really well. I think Fnatic's going to stomp 2-0. They're going to do really well. G2 could stomp 2-0. But I think G2 is going to go 1-1 because I think H2K is going to go 1-1 as well. And they face each other, so I put them 3 and 4. H2K scores really well normally, so yeah, I think even in like the loss, they might take a lot of towers and take a lot of dragons. I don't know. C9 generally scores a lot of points. They're very bloody, so I put C9 there. I think C9 is a very high scoring team, but I don't think they can stomp 2-0 this week. So that's why I didn't put them as high as I wanted to. Same thing with Immortal. I don't think they're gonna go 2-0, or at least I don't think they're gonna stomp like 2-0 in a best of 3. So that's the reason why I didn't put C9 and Immortals any higher. Same thing with Envy, and same thing with Roccat. So essentially, anything from 3 to 8, I'm just putting them there because they're normally high scoring teams, but I don't think they can excel in a best of first 2 game format. That's why I put them in 3 to 8, and I put an honorable mention of OG in there because OG has the potential to sweep their week because they're playing pretty crappy teams. I mean, Rockat's not that bad. Like Rockat's pretty good, but OG is also has the potential to be really good. So I could see OG sweeping their week. So that's why I put them there as an honorable mention.
I would be very disappointed if XPEC shit on Steelback.
Oh yeah, true. That's the.
But anyways,
Wild card.
I had TSM G2. I put C9 pretty high because even if they don't win their game convincingly, they're very smart about the way they play, and they're still gonna fight for objectives and stuff. So even if they lose, I think they're still gonna get a decent amount of objectives to score points. Fnatic is pretty high. My last 4 picks are kind of random. At Envy, I believe in Envy. I believe in Roccat. TL, I kind of believe they had that one win over the weekend, but it didn't look super convincing. I think they're my wild card team this week. And Energy...
TL is my wild card too.
Yeah, Energy is just because I like the way they look kind of right now. Even though I was a mad hater, Energy hater last split. But now I'm a mad Immortals hater. They're not even my top 8.
Why are you hovering over those 2 teams, Max? Huh?
I think C9 is going to score better than TL.
Maybe.
I think you should switch C9 and Immortals.
Nah, you're just an Immortals hater. I would put Fnatic and TSM about equal. G2 and H2K, I think they're going to 1-1 each other, so they might do okay to really good, depending on how bloody it is. Roccat, I think, will do very well. I actually wouldn't be against putting Roccat ahead of G2 and H2K. And then past that is just teams that I don't think are going to have the best week, but might do okay point-wise.
I think G2...
The TLs are very maybe.
I think G2, like, if they were still playing Kikis top lane, then I could see the 1-1. But I really think they're, like, super strong with Expect.
Expect
looked good the one game he was in.
Exactly, he only played one game, but
he looks really good.
Got like a little bit short of 25 points. Who knows? He could be like.
He looks really good, but he looks like he goes too ham.
He could be like TSM's of Biofrost. He's the one guy.
Biofrost started delivering 10 minutes into game 1 on week 1.
Yeah. I have a question for you guys. With the new dragon, do you think teams that know how to prioritize dragons well have an advantage in terms of team score this split?
In terms of team score?
I'm still
last split, it was all like who can take towers even in losing games kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This split, I think a lot of the weight on team score goes into dragons now.
Yep. Yeah. And I think dragons are really important, especially based on your team comp. I know, like, sometimes we talk about like a mountain dragon and the air dragon not being that good, but it really depends on your.
Mountain dragon's really good. Mountain dragon's really good.
Yeah, mountain dragon has shown up to, at least in pro play, it's been very good because they're very good at sieging in pro, and then it helps them take down objectives way more quickly.
Mountain Dragon's
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like the best dragon if you're in an even game.
Mm-hmm.
Then Infernal's just the best otherwise.
I think stacking mountain dragons is better than stacking fire dragons. I think just one. If you only have like 1 or 2, then fire dragon's better. But if you have like 3 mountain dragons, that's like GG.
Right, and then the air dragon,
Especially
like
when you get big dragon.
air dragon is like not
It-
that big of a deal, but it's like it's not something that you want the other team to get
It's
either.
nice.
Yeah.
It's nice,
I think-
if not to just refresh the dragons if you think you can take the next one.
Yeah, I
Um,
think air and water is like whatever.
I like water.
Uh,
Water is nice for a
water's
little bit of
okay.
sustainability.
Water's okay if we're doing the big rotation things, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
okay, because look at this. If you look from the 2 weeks we've had so far, if you look at the top of the list to the bottom of the list in terms of dragon kills, you've got Envy at 32 in 2 weeks to Phoenix at 9 in 2 weeks, right?
Hmm.
So like, that's a pretty big difference. You even have like good teams not taking very many dragons. Like, you've got Liquid pretty far down. You've got Energy pretty far down. You've got Fnatic at only 14. And that's like what, almost a 20 dragon difference.
What does
between Fnatic
CLG
and
have for
Envy over
dragons?
2 weeks.
Aren't they doing really shit with the dragons?
CLG, they're okay. They've
19.
got 19 dragons. They're like
Okay.
middle.
Yeah.
Because like TSM turned an early game lane swap deficit around by going super hard on Infernal Dragon. And there are teams that I've seen that just don't really care about dragons, and teams that really, really do. And I like a lot more than before. So it was a thing.
I mean,
was
if you
thinking about
look
that
at
has to make a difference.
if you look at Envy, they are like 5 dragons on top of anyone else, and yeah.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, like you can slack off on a turret a little bit, but you can always come back to it. Whereas the dragon, like you get a buff out of it, so I think it's way more valuable than the turret at that time. Like the turret's gonna
It's
go down.
definitely it's the biggest point differentiator after turrets, anyways,
Mhm.
and it's getting pretty
Yeah.
close.
Okie dokie. All right, so that wraps up the predictions for next week. Any last words?
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm exhausted because we're recording so many things. If this one's not working, I'm going to bed.
Of course it's working, but yeah.
Shoutouts to Dan's recording working.
Yes.
Shout out to the Cavaliers. They win their game today. Booyah!
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, because obviously the NBA is scripted harder than the LCS.
For whatever. Fucking Stephen Curry. If you like
No,
Stephen Curry,
stupid Adam Silver and Draymond
Unsubscribe.
Green.
that is some bullshit, man. Draymond Green. But anyways, that's completely off topic. This is all about League of Legends here.
Wrong podcast.
And it is going to be a TSM C9 finals this year.
I'd watch it.
Alright, so that's pretty much it. If you guys
Yep.
like the video and subscribe under Max. And over here, you can click the video for all the other videos. And over there, you can watch the previous video. That's it. Peace, guys.